Kia ora, g'day. Welcome back once again. Here with what should be the final wrap-up of my reaction to Mr. Colin Maclachlan here on the James English Show. So let's jump back in.
Doors to people, so you think you're standing doing your motivational talks. That's a bit of expressing that's a bit of trying to get you're expressing yourself, but it's also helping you as well because you're kind of getting it out there, and other people come to you and say they've got that same problem, so you're kind of not alone as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's very funny because when I first started, somebody said, "Oh, it'd be good if you came in and did a talk," and I thought, I'm not really a motivational talker. Like a lot of army, I'm capable of standing up in front of people and talking, but I didn't know I had the right messages to say. And I felt that after I'd told my story, I felt almost like when I'd written down my manuscript, it was like a whole weight had been released. It was like I'd almost rid myself of a lot that was kept up that I had to express myself. So I think every time I stand up in front of people and tell my story, or any time you sit down and write it, there's a therapeutic element to that.
Man, that's that hits me, eh? Why do I say that? Well, I just received, I'm not going to name any names, but I just received a message literally last night from a person who I've not met, a name that I didn't recognize. This person is a member of the police force here in NZ, and I think he's a combination of a dog handler as well as he's part of the AOS team or squad. And he reached out asking if we could have a chat, if we could have a corridor about me potentially going in and speaking. I don't think it's for any motivational speaking. I don't know. I actually don't know what it's about. But I'm catching up with this person today and going to have a chat with them just over the phone and hear what it is. Why do I bring that up? It's just I connect with what Colin's just shared here. Like when he was asked that it'd be good if he could speak, I immediately thought the same things as what he just mentioned. Like, I don't know. And I think I said to him, I said to him in my message, I don't know that I have anything that I could offer or share with your team or with your teams other than maybe putting on the sleeve or the suit and letting the dog attack me, which might be good for a laugh. He did reply as gracious and said, "Oh, well, we could definitely organise that." So maybe I record that, but it just sorry for taking so much time. That just resonates with me what Colin just shared, and also the other part that resonates with me is that what he shared about there being a therapeutic element to it, to being able to just I guess release some of that stuff, whatever it is. I can't say that I've felt weighed down by starting the YouTube channel and talking about things. I don't think I've felt weighed down by stuff. I think it's been a good opportunity though to just be transparent and open and share hopefully some good stuff and encouraging stuff and positive stuff, and then share some of the blinking stupid dumb stuff I've made decisions on, so in the hopes of that again helping somebody else not make those dumb decisions. But anyway, we'll get back into Colin.
Therapy for you makes you feel good. Was there any stuff like yoga or stuff like that? And the people, is that there, like breathing techniques? Or
there's a whole host of stuff. So yoga, meditation. There's an app I've downloaded recently called Calm. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's got sleep, stories, meditation, sounds, even stuff. You're going off to sleep, you set it for kind of 5 minutes and it has waterfalls, all that kind of stuff. That has a whole host of stuff on it that's really helpful. So I would say animals are really good. You get a pet, Horseback UK is famous for that, and they've got Bravehound and stuff, and they found that working with animals and stuff helps. So there's a whole host of stuff out there. It's just tapping into what works.
And it's trying to get what's right for you as well, because not necessarily it's right for you, it's right for everybody else, including myself. When you did you wrote a book as well.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
So the SAS leadership book already came out. I wrote my autobiography, The Pilgrim. The MOD keep putting the blockers on that. They keep saying it will set a dangerous precedent and we can't tell people, and I watch everyone else, especially from the show, that have written their books, and it pinches because there's that element of and justice. And there's nothing I've got to tell that people haven't heard. They've heard it on Who Dares Wins, they've heard on the Channel 5 show, I've spoke about it in the public speaking, it's been on the Discovery and History channel. There's no secrets in that book that nobody hasn't heard. However, I just wish that the MOD would just be a less prehistoric in their approach and say, you know, it's not this 30 years wait. People know about selection. People know that special forces are away working, and just let me tell my story because everybody else has, you know.
So they try to put the blockers on it?
Yeah, and as recent as 2 weeks ago, I said to the MOD, I'll give you 3 options. I can write this as fiction if you want. I can take out the capture chapter. You can blue line whatever line parts you want and give me back an edited copy, and they refused them all. So it just feels almost personal in a way, because you see everybody else, you know, Foxy brought his one out a couple of weeks ago, Ant Middleton's has been out. It just feels...
Yeah, that's crap. Yeah, I mean, they're processing that over there, and the MOD with regards to them screening stuff. I know they're going through and or screening Christian Craighead's stuff from what I've heard in his interview on the Sean Ryan show. I don't know personally, but far out. What Colin's saying makes a lot of sense. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that he's likely not telling anybody that they don't already know. The Bravo 20s of the world, the Chris Ryans of the world, the one that got away, Ant Middleton's, Foxy's, like these guys, well-known SF, UK SF persons, former SF persons. Why not let him? They can put his book out, far out, that process, and he's given them options. It's not like he's been unreasonable and digging his heels in and not trying to come to the party. Now, that's sad, man. It's sad. Like, you need to have a good hard look at yourself when you got people like Colin or other operators, or even just military in general, that are willing to serve, sacrifice, go away, risk it all, and then they want to share their story. Obviously, operational secrecy and all that sort of stuff needs to be in play, but it doesn't sound like, from what Colin's talking about, that he's disclosing any of that. No, that's sad. It's disappointing.
Is that against you, though? Is that just against you? Do you think
well, it might not just be against me, but I think the arguments they use for not putting my book out are kind of hypocritical to what the other books have been out there. If it's setting a dangerous precedent, well, what have all these other ones done? If you're saying that we can't talk about SF operations, well, what are some of these other ones doing? You know, if you're saying, well, we can't say we're working with intelligence services, or no one knows about your capture, well, guess what? Everybody knows about it. It's all over Sky News, so let's not kid each other.
So then what happens if you release it?
I think they would put the block on it to release it. I'm lost. I need a lawyer that will come on and take the MOD, because I think a decent lawyer would be able to.
If any lawyers are out there and help Colin get his book out, give him a shout, give him a message, because
I'd appreciate it.
Everybody's got a story, Colin, and it's no fair that your story's kind of, it's not getting out there, because there's a lot of frustration there, because a lot of people relate to your story as well.
I love that he's called that out, so I'll do the same. Man, I don't know how old this is, and hopefully it's been done by now. I haven't done any research to see if Colin's book is out. The Pilgrim, I think he said, so I'll do some looking after this. But man, hopefully there is a lawyer that hears this, sees this, takes it on, or reaches out to Colin, and hopefully this gets sorted out. It's I can't see any reason why it shouldn't be.
And try and get the help to, I don't know, whatever it is, it's on the book, but for people to, everybody's got an interest in reading it. We've all been through some shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you not change, you've changed bits of the chapter of the book to try and get it, fluff it up a bit, or whatever it is?
I've changed whole bits to appease the MOD to try and get the book out there, but they don't want it out. And there's nothing I haven't said, and there's nothing that will risk soldiers' lives, and that's the main thing. And that's the only bit I really care about, and so the fact they've put the blockers on it, it can only come down to personal, because there's no part of that book that I haven't already told on either national TV or any other platform.
Because your stuff is everywhere else. I've been reading up all week because I know you were coming on. It is everywhere about the capture and this and that, and like I say, that's a story that people, and it's obviously for yourself it's grim, but for people love that.
I definitely need to dig into and have a look at the details of his capture, because I haven't heard him. He hasn't gone into it like The title says SAS hero Colin Maclachlan talks about PTSD and when he was captured and tortured, unless that's going to be in these last few minutes of this interview, but I haven't heard him go into detail talking about what that was like for him.
That's what grips people in, all the stuff being captured and what you've went through, and that's what your book sells.
Yeah, I think there's one side of it's the SF side that people always want to read about, and I think another one is the journey, the life journey, and I think there's a lot of good that comes out of that, because very few people live their lives and don't go through some kind of trauma or don't experience stress to some level. I think there's messages in that book that give a lot of people hope, and will hopefully, if the book gets out there, do a lot of good. So yeah, I hope it does one day.
Is there anything?
Makes a lot of sense to me. I definitely hope his book gets out as well. If it's not already out, apologies if it is already out, so you can feel free to let me know in the comments. But like I said, I'll do some digging around and have a look. And also I want to find out more about the capture and the torture aspect of what he went through, which I didn't know about. And as I mentioned in other reactions, Colin and I worked together on one of the media contracts in the private sector post our time in the SAS. And yeah, he was a blinking larrikin, just a very hard case, obviously switched on operator, I thought anyway, but just a very mellow, chilled, nice, cool, calm, collected type of person, just sort of the same way we see him here. But he has a very cheeky side to him as well, at least in my experience of working with him while we're over there. So, oh man.
Yeah, in the pipeline to get it out there, you're trying everything.
Well, that was the last one with the MOD. I know personnel have changed, so I hope they would see sense. But Foxy's got through, and mine never. I don't know. I think a decent lawyer would be able to look at the MOD and say, look, with a few tweaks, we can make this book work. Just how? Like, what is it you want us to do to get this book out there? And
yeah, have you spoke to the other boys then who've got their books out as well? How can they not guide you and put you onto somebody else to?
I think they've got. I think one of the things is when you're starting to form your own journey and your own path, it's harder to be able to help other people because they've got their own path. They're trying to make it work. They're carving out a TV and a book career for themselves. It's very hard for them then to come in and try and help you from a flank, and I get that. I get that side of it, but I think probably I have more of a story to tell in my book. I was involved in some quite high profile operations, so there is a story there, and I think the problem is that the MOD might not want elements of the capture to come out. They might feel that there's an element of duty of care failure or support, or that the SF world might not be what it's deemed to be. But for me, I don't think it'll do any damage from that side. People realise what a vulnerable position sometimes SF are in. I think by the time you finish the last page of it, you've got a kind of uplifting feeling that, no matter what adversity you come through, there's a life at the end of it.
That's a great point that he's bringing up. I think that what he's just shared there makes sense. Also, the potential, I don't know, maybe personality or something, why they're not letting his book through, but they're letting other former UK SF operators' books through. There may be some issue there. I couldn't imagine how or why an operator would have some sort of personality disagreement with a member of the MOD, but hey, possibly. But I do like and resonate with what he shared there, in case it puts the military in a negative light, or the SF space in a negative light, maybe their duty of care. And we heard him touch on it earlier in the first reaction. When he was rescued, it was just business as usual, like just crack onto the next job. There was he touched on it briefly. There was no additional support or debriefing or anything like that, from what I heard anyway. And so maybe when they've looked at it or read it and they've gone through and gone, oh crap, that doesn't make us look or sound very good, maybe it's a bit of a defensive mechanism, to Colin's point. And that's disappointing if it is. I like how he's spoken about, there's a bit of it, like it's more uplifting the way it ends. And I think people probably have enough of an idea these days, in particular with the access to social media, with the access to what gets put out by individuals, former SF and or otherwise, about their time and experience. And I think people are smart enough to be able to draw from and go, well, wow, that guy didn't get any support. Wow, Kyle Morgan from the Radisson Blue saved all these people. And then when they come back in, there's all these people getting all this wraparound support, psychologists, blah, 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 and he got nothing. And the next crew just come in and they're just waiting for him to debrief them all. Like, nobody gave him any support. There could be, maybe that's what it is, people worried about, or the MOD in this case. But man, you just got to eat that. I say anyway, you just got to eat that and go, man, here's an opportunity for us to do better, to be better.
I think that would scare people, but to join maybe the army if they read it and go, fuck that, I'm not going through that.
Well, it doesn't necessarily tell. It's certainly not an atypical army story. I think SF would be the kind of tip of the spear part. So I don't think it would put anybody off. It might put a lot of people forward for going for the army, certainly hearing about some of the adventures. Let's not forget, the whole book isn't really just the SF part. It's my childhood, it's the general army, it's the SF part and the career after. So the SF part's only really part of it.
I need to read this book. I need to read this book. You need to get the book out there. When you were when you were captured for the day as well, it was the British Army that came.
Yeah, so we were captured. We'd went down to the border, come back up, got captured, and were held in the police station in Basra. And fortunately for us, a Green Army unit had kind of put two and two together and realised we were in there. And yeah, they had a bit of armour and stuff, and there was a big riot outside the police station. There was fire and RPGs and all sorts. And luckily, we managed to get rescued. Just right place, right time, as opposed to being wrong place, wrong time before.
Exactly. And like I say, you were lucky because I read that you were blindfolded.
Yeah,
naked.
Yeah, it was, and the SF prepare you to a degree for that. They'll never prepare you fully. It's very hard to. So that element helped, and I think a lot of the childhood stuff helped as well. There was an element of know badly how beaten you are. You get through the next day, and certainly that was with me there. I was certainly always conscious of the fact that no matter how badly physically I'm broken down, I can mend mentally. I'm the kind of gatekeeper of how I feel, and
that's an amazing way to look at thinking. You are in control of your mindset, and you've obviously learned that from your childhood, from speaking to you, that whether it's the abuse mentally or whatever, and then travelling that through till when you get captured. Does that kind of relate to what happened when you were younger then, and you kind of just accept it and become, do you know what, you can beat me black and blue, you can fucking kill me, but you ain't going to break me up here? Do you become numb then, Colin? Do you become like fearful, fearless? Do you become like, fuck it, basically?
I wouldn't say it's numb. It might be numb physically. It's certainly not numb mentally, and I would never say that you become fearless. Any soldier that tells you they're fearless or they're never feared is a liar. There's loads of times I've been afraid, and there are loads of times in the future I'll be afraid. So anyone tells you that, it's nonsense. It's how you manage the fear that's the key. It's what you do with it and how you shape it to your best advantage, and not those of the people on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Fair play to you, mate.
Love that he mentioned that. That's part of the reason why I say that the one thing that the resistance to interrogation and combat survival course teaches you is don't get caught, is because you're scared. You're worried about what would happen to you and about the things that could or would be done to you in order to get information, intelligence, and or for the enemy to parade you around and go, we got one of yours and this is what we're doing to them. Anybody says they're fearless about that and have no fear about that, far out. Well, kudos to you then, mate. But I reckon the other 99.9% of operators, if they were captured, are not trying to put their chest out and not trying to be these big, fearless individuals with regards to when you're in enemy hands.
And for the future going forward, what's the plans for you? What have you got?
The public speaking is going really well. I do the motion capture for the video games, which is in Edinburgh, Rockstar. I love that as well. The charity's taken off. I'm ambassador for a number of charities. I do whatever I can for veterans, anybody in mental health. Love the charity football. Hoping to...
Yes, I'll get old Tommy Sheridan. We kind of need to replace him anyway, mate, because my back is so big carrying him, mate. He's in his 60s or 70s, do you know what I mean? He needs to gear up, man. But he tried, Tommy. The computer game stuff, because I was talking to Gordon yesterday, he's a big computer game fan. So what is that then?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been with Rockstar Games working with them for about 10 years now, and they started from, even then, a successful company, but I've watched them just grow and grow and explode, and the technology now is phenomenal. And I can't say too much about the game side of it because a lot of it's more secret than what it was when I was in the Special Forces, but the motion capture side of it is basically a large, massive kind of room, warehouse size, covered in the balls, and you do the movement, and then it goes straight onto the video games, and they just put a different face.
So you're that guy that does all the moves, rolling about, and
I do a lot of the motion capture, and when you finish the game, you'll see in the credits it comes up thanks to Colin Maclachlan.
That's brilliant, man. That's amazing. I think I've seen Conor McGregor doing one. Was that? What's the one? What's the army?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. So that's the kind of stuff you do?
Yeah, so I've done the Grand Theft Auto series, and so I've been working for 10 years, so you can imagine the sort of games I've been involved in. But I love it. Every day's different. One day you're a fighter pilot, next minute you're on a horse. So yeah.
That's fucking brilliant.
That is awesome, man. I'm stoked to hear the stuff that he's got going on, what's happening, and that things are going so well for him post his military career. I just hope that book comes out, and it's awesome the amount of reach and work that he's doing to try to support and help other people. Awesome, Colin.
Yeah, and I'd just like to thank you, man, for your story.
Thank you. Thanks for getting out there and all the good work you do.
Being brave, mate, and like I say, anybody that's serving or in out in battle, man, it takes a lot of balls, but it takes bigger balls to admit you've got problems. So for anybody in the struggle and try to get contact, can you say it again, how we can try and create awareness and get people the help that may be needed?
Yeah, totally. We're always here. We've got the Who Dares Cares Facebook page. We've got the website, who-dares-cares.co.uk. We'll have the app and the website up and running 24/7. And yeah, we're always, there's somebody always there, so just reach out, let us know, and there'll be someone that can help.
Amazing, mate. Just like to say thanks for coming on.
Thanks for seeing me.
And we've also got our documentary out on the 2nd of September.
Right, I'm going to pause that there. Awesome. Great to hear the Who Dares Cares with what Colin and his team have got there available. And I really enjoyed seeing somebody that I would consider a friend based on having the privilege to serve and work with him, albeit in a private security setting, post our time serving in the SAS together, him from the UK and me from the Australian unit, but then coming together and being part of a UK-based company that had a number of contracts looking after television media at the time. So if you stuck around this long, thank you very much for your time, and for your support. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to Colin. I'll make sure that I put the link to his full interview here without me interjecting, and and that you can take something away from it, whether you're here in NZ, Australia, UK, US, wherever. I think there's a lot of value in what Colin has spoken about, regardless of who or where we're from, and how we might be able to apply that to ourselves. So as always, anybody going through any difficult times, hard times, challenges, heartache, if you're in the UK, you've got the Who Dares Cares. So you reach out to Colin and his team. There's a whole bunch of other resources and stuff out there, for people that may be struggling. So if you need to, and if you feel that it will help, reach out to those things and do what you can for yourself as well to try to lift yourself up. We've got as harsh as it may sound, more often than not, nobody's coming to help. We've got to take the initiative. We have to want to help ourselves. We have to want to pull and claw our way out of that misery that we're in at that time. So keep turning up and keep staying in the fight. Stay as consistent and as disciplined as you can. And although things may be miserable and lonely and difficult and hard right now, I promise you they will not last forever. Just stay in the fight. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. You are not alone. The sun will shine again. There is a light at the end of that long, dark, lonely and miserable tunnel. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation and gratitude for you all.